Hello, my name's Gemma and I'm here to teach you this watercolour ink bird class. So in your kit you'll have a few pieces of watercolour paper like this. You'll have a paintbrush and a pen, and you'll have the inks, but you will need to find some sort of palette. We use old bathroom tiles here just because they're shiny and you can wash them really easily, and a pot of water as well, and a pencil. So those are what you need to get started, and you've got some references in here of different birds. You can pick which one you fancy having a go at. There's a few different ones, and if you want something else, you can there's lots of things online, so just Google watercolour ink birds or Indian ink, that kind of thing, and there should be some images that come up should you want to try something different. So today I'm going to show you how to do the peacock one, and you can just follow along and see how the technique works, and then go for it and enjoy it, and go off on your own artistic adventure. So I'm just going to show you how to get started. You need to draw out your bird first in pencil. So I've just sketched out the peacock here. There's no harm in tracing because you're here to learn the technique, so if you want to trace it you can. The watercolour paper is quite thick, so what I would do is lay the image on top and hold it up against a window, and that light should shine through and you'll be able to trace it through then. So you just want the outlines, you want to do it where the colours roughly change colour. You've got the eye in there and the beak and things like that. So you do that in pencil first, then you go over it with a permanent pen. So you're just going to go over those pencil lines that you've got on there to start with. So those are my lines. At the end, when you've painted all the colours on, you can go over those lines again and thicken them up or add detail, whatever you want to do to make it more your own. So this pen goes on before, and when it's dry you can put it on afterwards as well. So once you've got your black outline on there, you want to rub out any of the pencil marks. So you just get rid of the pencil, because pencil's actually quite hard to get rid of once you've put paint down. So just get rid of any obvious bits of pencil out of the way. And there's your outline. And the next step is to pop some inks down on your palette and get a tester piece of paper out. So leave your bird to one side for a minute, get a blank piece, because we're just going to test out how the colours work on there. So you want to put a few drops of the inks onto your palette. They will all look like black until you start using them. So if you want to make a note somewhere of what the colours are, you can. But I've got purple, green and blue on mine, and I'm just going to show you how they work with the water. These inks are often called watercolour inks, or liquid watercolours, or Indian inks, and you can buy them online. They're very, very vibrant. and they're very strong. The pigments are really strong, which is how you get those wonderful colours. The only thing they do though is stain. So they will stain your hands a bit like food colouring does, and they will stain your clothes and other surfaces. So put something down so that you can protect your tables and things like that. Otherwise, yes, you will end up with bright colour marks everywhere. So you can use them neat. I'll just show you what they look like when you... And then you can add water. Blend them out. You can start with a big puddle of water and drip the ink into it, and see it moves around everywhere. You can get really exotic and hold it up and make it bleed everywhere. And I'll just show you a few of the other colours. So I would practice trying to get the colours really light and trying to get the colours really dark. So if I want to do a little wash of a colour, I'll put a little bit of water down, put a tiny bit of green on my paintbrush, and try and do a very light wash of colour. These paints are lovely, they are quite hard to control sometimes, so just practice trying to do really pale and then trying to do really dark areas. And try and practice also getting it to move around. So you have your puddle, this is just plain water. I will go for some of the blue. I'm going to force it to drip down the page. Oh, my purple's going to join in. So you're just forcing a drip down there. Shaking it, seeing what happens. And just have a little play and enjoy it. And when you're ready, we'll move on to the main thing. So now we're going to paint the peacock. We've got I've got green and blue, and I've got a little bit of purple on my palette as well, just to add a bit of jazzy colour to it. And with these colours, you can go outside the lines. So even though you've got this big black bold line on there, you can just embrace it. I'm just going to put a little bit of water down, and you can go outside the lines as much as you like. So lay down some colour. You can even flick paint at it if you want to. In fact, the more sort of brave you are, the better the results really, even though it's a bit scary when you first start. And if the colours bleed into each other, all the better really. So you can just use water to make one area meet another, just plain water straight out the pot to kind of blend those two areas together. Could use a bit of my purple now, I think, just to get jazzy. And I'm going to use a bit of purple in the peak. So you can make your own little watered down puddles of paint. So it's a bit paler like that, so if you're, that might make you feel a bit more confident. You can actually see what the colours are going to come out, so you can do a slightly paler version. So I've just laid the colour down and now I'm just adding water just to make it move about really. I'm just putting some plain water here. If you see here, you can dump puddles of water on and they can create these quite nice effects when they're drying. So I always say put an uncomfortable amount of water on, in terms of it feels really unnatural, but just go for it and you'll get some really lovely results. I'm just going to put a pale wash on this bit for the moment, and then I'm going to put some detailed feathers on top. I want this area to be a little bit darker. And beak as well. I always find this sort of painting works quite well if you can leave white spaces too. It just somehow makes the rest of the colours pop out. So now this area is slightly drier, I'm going to see if I can just paint on a few. Oh, it's still a little wet. Just wanted to try and get in a few more feathery looking parts. With the eye, I'm just going to do a little wash of colour, and I'm actually going to use some of the black pen again to bring it out a bit more. So now I'm just having a look and seeing, could I add, it looks good if you can get some really dark areas and some really light areas. So I'm just having a look to see what areas I can darken down a bit, just to create a nice contrast really. So if you want your paint to bleed out the lines more, you can put some just plain water down around the bird and the ink will start to spread into it. So if you're feeling your bird is a bit too neat, you can force the water and the inks to bleed out. And if you wanted to flick some paint on there, you just roll your brush in the ink and lightly tap. This is where the covering your surfaces and wearing old clothes thing comes in. So there we are, that's the basics of doing the ink painting. The only thing I would do next is, when this is a bit drier, I'll just go around some of the detail just to make the lines a bit heavier. You can keep it quite minimalist, or you can really sort of get in there and sketch away. So I'll just let this dry and I'll just show you what extra things I would do. Okay, so now this area is a bit dry around here, I'm just going to go in and add some bit more sort of harder lines. Sometimes it's quite nice to go around the outline of the paint as well. It just makes it stand out a bit more. But once you've had a play, you'll master this technique and you can apply it to all kinds of different styles of drawing. It's a really fun one to learn. It works really, really well on flowers and plants as well. So I have quite a messy style of how I like to get the lines to show up. But again, you can be really, really neat with it, or you can just go pen crazy. I think it needs a bit more there. There we go, so that's probably where I would leave it. Again, like I said, you can go much heavier or much lighter with it, and do as much pen before or after as you like. But sometimes it is easier to see afterwards where it looks like it needs a bit more bringing out sort of shadowy bits and that kind of thing. So that's how that watercolour ink works. Like I said, you can try it on all sorts of different things, but have a really good play. And if you have any questions, please get in touch. I'd also love to see the end result. So, because I'm not getting to see much of other people's artwork at the minute, it would be brilliant if you could email it to me, but I know you have to be feeling brave to do that. So just see how you feel. But good luck, and I hope you really enjoy it.